You know, I've been a fan of the XDC network for a long time now. But it's 2025, and we've all seen how much blockchain has evolved in just the last 2 years. So, as an XDC investor, I'm naturally asking the question, does the XDC network's value prop still hold water? We all know the XDC network for bringing the world of blockchain into the world of trade finance in an attempt to address the $2 to $3 trillion trade finance gap. They specialize in creating platforms that allows trade finance players and supply chain finance players to digitize the documents involved in those transactions. This is supposed to make the entire process more efficient, more transparent, things of that nature. In addition to that, when you look at the top 50 market cap, XDC is the only asset, one of few, let me be completely accurate here, that has multiple real world asset offerings, and they're not in the top 50. In addition, a subsidiary of one of the largest companies in the world, SBI VC Trade, publicly supports the XDC network. Even with all of that, though, I can't help but ask the question, is the competition closing in? So, welcome. If you're new, my name is Wade. You're listening to another edition of the DHN Crypto Podcast. I've been in the space since 2019, and I've researched over 1,000 digital assets. The number one reason I sit here at this desk in front of this camera right next to this microphone is to share all of that with you. All I ask in return, you hit that subscribe button. I have a goal. I want to see this channel hit 100,000 subscribers before the end of the year. And I definitely think that's possible. Now, in return, I got a couple gifts for you. You guys know what time it is. First up is Blockmaster. If you're new to the crypto space, I would highly urge you download this ebook that I put together. It's a collection of information that will give you the fundamentals to blockchain technology. When you get on X and when you get on here, you're going to come across a lot of hype, a lot of hysteria, a lot of hopium, right? I get that. I experience it too. Don't get me wrong. Through all of that, though, I find peace in the fact that I can rely on the fundamentals. And that's what I created for every other new investor that comes into the space. That's my token to you. In addition to that, don't forget to download, guys, your DHN blockchain starter kit. This one is absolutely free. It'll give you a primer of the digital asset space, along with other information and ideas that'll help you kind of define everything that you're looking at, because I know crypto can get crazy. So we got a few other items that I will share with you at the end, but let's get to the meat of the conversation here. What am I talking about? Have I lost faith in the XDC network? I wouldn't say that. I will say, though, it's wavering a bit because of what we've seen in recent months. Exhibit A, ladies and gentlemen. First point here. I became a big fan of the XDC network for two reasons. One, their ISO readability. Next to Ripple, they were one of the first assets to really let it be known that they rocked with ISO from the beginning. Second reason, of course, addressing the $2 to $3 trillion trade finance gap through digitizing of the documents involved. That angle I had never seen before. I had never seen attacked before. So for those reasons, the XDC network stayed on my radar. But as years have gone by, ladies and gentlemen, and we've gotten deeper and deeper into this blockchain world, what we have learned is that things aren't as exclusive as they used to be. For example, we know XDC network is very prevalent in the world of trade finance, but recently we have seen a number of networks that we're familiar with breaking off into the same thing. For example, Hedera. They are partnered with a company called Fresh Supply Co. They've integrated Hedera's token service and consensus service into multiple supply chain focused offerings. So we're talking about things like food track and traceability, also the registering of certain payments on an immutable ledger such as Hedera. And when it comes to the supply chain and Hedera, I'm really excited because I understand how crucial time-stamped events are to the Hedera network. It's kind of where that's the heartbeat of the network. And in the world of the supply chain, where making sure a product reaches a destination at a given time and being able to prove that, I don't see any other solution more suited, right? But of course, we don't know it all. We haven't seen it all. In addition to that, a few months ago, we covered this one. We're talking Algorand now. Finboot leverages Algorand for a sustainable and efficient blockchain solution. Finboot's approach is more so on the eco-friendly side, carbon emissions, CO2, things of that nature. But it also incorporates supply chain and the traceability of these eco-friendly sort of goods. That is another example there. And then recently, Stellar entered the supply chain thanks to a company called Pelago Labs. And when I really got deep into this story, you guys already know the conclusion that I came to. I'm surprised it took this long for Stellar to expose themselves to the world of the supply chain, considering that they have on-ramps in almost 175 countries around the planet. But that goes to show you the other examples that are out here. All the more reason why I'm saying XDC Network came into the market with an initial value proposition, an initial narrative, if you will. Since then, though, other more prominent networks arguably have gotten into the same lane as the XDC network. And to be quite honest with you, the networks that are getting involved already have more powerful components to suit the job than the XDC network. And I'm just going off of everything that I've researched about this network dating back to 2021. Okay? The XDC network, it is very good at many things. And with the upgrade to XDC 2.0, it is now even better. 2,000 transactions per second. Minimum. 2,000. The problem is, and we learned this in the story, Stellar and Pelago, there isn't a payment architecture on the XDC network. And that's a major issue. Now, it may seem to this point that I'm looking to put a nail in the coffin of the XDC network. That ain't entirely true. Because in the last 12 to 18 months, we'll say, they've entered into a new discussion at the perfect time. We're talking about the world of real world asset tokenization. It's been a while since we've looked at XDC's numbers on rwa.xyz, but okay, folks, we've had an increase in holders. All right. If I'm not mistaken, we watched this thing sit, like nap or hibernate at $1.5 million. We're now sitting at 5.3. We got an uptick in RWA holders. There's even stablecoin market cap readings now, $14.5 million, 766 holders in 2 stables. Now, when I looked at this morning, I was impressed, ladies and gentlemen. $500,000 in private credit, $3 million in stables, $4 million in U.S. Treasury debt. And then look at who else we have listed under protocols. Fathom. Now, this raises a very, very interesting point, and it can also be used to counter the argument that I just made earlier in the episode. Fathom was one of the protocols on the XDC network that was specifically focused on supply chain financing. The payment infrastructure that I said is absent from the XDC network, well, Fathom was kind of making up for that. So it's good to see Fathom now listed on rwa.xyz, because when it comes to the trade financing of the trade finance transaction, Fathom is it for the XDC network. Now, this other name here, Mercado Bitcoin. Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, that's Brazil. And if you're talking Brazil, you know we talking bricks. We're going to bring it back up in a minute. To be honest with you, though, I don't know about this story. So I now got to dig into XDC and Mercado Bitcoin. But like I mentioned, they entered the RWA space at the perfect time. Let me walk you down the timeline a bit. 2023, USTY makes its way to the XDC network. The USTY was created by Yield Tech. It's managed by BlackRock, and it's a tokenized version of BlackRock's stock market offerings. This set the entire market on fire. Nobody actually believed that BlackRock was coming, and they went a route outside of XRP. But hey, we see it today. It ain't went nowhere, so obviously this was a legit arrangement. Little bit after that, another major player in the world of tokenization in the form of ArchX brought XDC into its ecosystem. ArchX, we know that name because of their work with Hedera, with Ripple, and other names in the space. They're really expanding. They were also involved with the tokenization of other BlackRock money market funds, if I'm not mistaken. Those same money market funds, a few months after this arrangement, also made their way to networks like Hedera, Ripple, and XDC network. So when I say the XDC network entered the RWA discussion at the perfect time, you associated yourselves with the largest player in the game right on lap one, in the first lap of the race. So XDC getting involved with the RWA space came at the perfect time because the tokenization of these assets requires a special set of skills. And because that specialization is needed, not everyone can come in and compete. So those with that specialized knowledge to tokenize, like the XDC network, which when you really think about it, digitization of a trade finance document is in essence the same thing as tokenizing a real world asset. You're taking the paper form of it and digitizing it. So you can also insert here that the new narrative, the new value prop for the XDC network could very well be the tokenization of real world assets. Because just this past week, Liqui and XDC network, they plan to tokenize $500 million in RWAs in Brazil. All right. I have been looking back into the operations of the BRICS. They ain't playing. BRICS, as a matter of fact, Brazil is the presidency country for their BRICS summit this year in Rio de Janeiro in July. And do you want to know what the number one agenda is? BRICS payment system. Okay. So any network that has been associating themselves with these countries over the last few years, y'all know we've been tracking them. So again, another feather in the cap here for the XDC network. Now this Liqui company, pretty interesting. You guys know I had to dig into this. So new era of investing is within your reach. This appears to be a platform in Brazil. Kind of reminds me of Link 2. Something called Link 2 here in the United States, where they give you access to securities that you couldn't get anywhere else for a cheaper price, right? So that's the type of situation you got here. And we can take a look around and see some of their offerings. And obviously, I have no idea what any of these things are, but they look like companies that can be invested in, you know? Of course, with a little bit of research, it'd be nothing to find out what the VAN token and the SMART token and the NAGRO token are associated with. But if the XDC network is wrapped up in this ecosystem in a country that is gaining influence and power and relationships, it's something we need to keep an eye on. Now, just fishing around their website, stumbled upon a couple articles that caught my attention. Liqui enters the second phase of the Drex pilot test with I2, BB, and Bradesco and Nuclea. Liqui is working with the Central Bank of Brazil. The Brazilian Central Bank, the same central bank in Brazil that has been developing the digital real for the last 4 to 5 years. And they've been crafting it, molding it after DeFi, blockchain, crypto technologies. And they make it plain as day. So when I saw this company working on this Drex pilot, We know where their focus is. And here's another one: tokenized commercial notes in a model that does not require crowdfunding. Another element to XDC upgrading to 2.0 was atomic settlement or instant finality. Transactions on the XDC network settle in 0.6 seconds. Block time is 3 seconds, 3 to 6. Transactions, less than that. So, the tokenization of commercial notes in a model without crowdfunding, you don't need the crowdfunding if you can process the payment instantly between two parties. So, I like what I see with that. Now, this last bit here, we're going to exit the turn mode. We're going to come back here to the desk because this is something I have been thinking about for a number of weeks now. It's a bit of a theory, if you will. I've shared it with the members of the committee already. So, tell me what you think of this. Now, we're talking trade finance. We're talking the supply chain. Something that is going on in the traditional world outside of the blockchain space is what our president is doing with these tariffs. Before I was going to make this comment, I made sure I did all the reading I needed to do. The conclusion that I have come to in regards to these tariffs is that it has more of an impact on the companies in the countries being tariffed. You can see this anywhere. You look online. You have small business owners now trying to figure out exactly how they're going to pay for their goods for this upcoming spring and summer seasons. And let's not even begin to talk about Christmas. What I'm suggesting, though, is the added pressure from these tariffs could create an environment where an advanced technology is needed. Maybe even a world where blockchain provides a cheaper solution in an environment rife with tariffs and geopolitical tension from these tariffs. Like I said, it's really just a theory. But if the game plan is to return American innovation back to the United States, I know for sure that our infrastructure here in the United States needs an overhaul. If we're going to now, going forward, building our own factories, building our own infrastructure, telecom, whatever it may be, I know we need an upgrade. The entire infrastructure in the United States needs an overhaul. Ask people who study power grids here in the United States. I don't see why blockchain wouldn't be a part of that overhaul, especially considering how much more now it's being discussed, not just from a crypto perspective, not from a price perspective, but from a technology perspective. That is the core discussion. So, in a world like that, assets like the XDC network and those who are tying themselves to the world of trade finance, y'all could be in for a run, the likes of which we've never seen. I'll put it to you like this. 12 months down the line, we start seeing assets like Origin Trail, VeChain, Morpheus Network, right? All of these supply chain related assets just start rolling out of nowhere. Oh, we know what has changed. We know what has changed because, folks, we saw it. We saw this. Look back, zoom out over the last 12 months. The number one topic of discussion has been stablecoins and payments. And what have been the number one assets everyone has been talking about, from your influencers to your Twitter trolls? What have they been talking about? Payment coins. So, if we step back, zoom out, and get away from the chaos, it's real easy to follow the patterns, folks. And that's all I'm trying to help you see. So, I'm going to leave it at that, guys. If you're looking for ways to support the channel, we got a couple of partners that'll help you do that. Number one being Uphold. Now, I'm an affiliate, but I'm also a very long time customer. Talking about, I went from Coinbase in 2019 to Uphold in 2019 and then just didn't leave. Uphold is also one of the first exchanges to support staking once again for US customers. So if you are a fan of Ripple and you want to hold RLUSD and get yield on it, Uphold is the only platform on the market that'll let you do that right now. So I think that's a strong enough selling point for them in and of itself. In addition to military grade security, they're ISO 2701 certified, SOC 2 Type 2 certifications. These are military grade information technology and cybersecurity protections. So you got military grade security on your crypto. Not to mention precious metals, national currencies. The list goes on. I've used many platforms in this space. Ain't none of them touching Uphold. Straight up. Now, outside of that, guys, of course, you got your blockchain starter kit. I got a new tool for you. New financial system master sheet. These are the assets that I have covered on this channel over the last few years. I know I've researched 1,000 assets, but even looking through all of those assets, these are the ones that rose to the top. So I put together a master sheet that will tell you which organizations are working with which networks. And you'll also see certain organizations working with multiple networks. That's how you know we're entering a multi-chain world. So all of this stuff will be available at the link in the description. Same place you can pick up Blockmaster. You can also pick up the new financial system master sheet. And then lastly, guys, not an affiliate of Robinhood, just a customer. I'm taking advantage of retirement. Okay, straight like that. I'll be 33 this year. Okay, so that means that 53 is approaching. 53 is approaching. That's just how I like to look at it. So if you're looking for a tool outside of a traditional bank, man, to get you started on your retirement savings, your retirement goals, I'm suggesting Robinhood. Links to all of these will be in the description as well as the pinned comment. And with that, don't forget to let me know your thoughts on this situation down in the comments, what's your feelings on the XDC network and their potential to make it in this next era of blockchain. With that, y'all know what time it is. If that money is digital, so is the hustle.